I sat there staring at the screen. Not driving, not racing, not streaming, just staring. Monday morning, I wake up early, grab a coffee, open YouTube to check and see who's streaming this week's combo. And there it is, Willow Springs. And I felt it instantly. Not excitement, no determination, but that punch in the gut I don't like to admit. F this track, I said. I wasn't afraid of the corners. I wasn't afraid of tire wear. I wasn't afraid of the speed. I was afraid of something way quieter and way heavier. Self-doubt. Not that loud kind that screams in your face. The sneaky kind, the kind that just whispers. The kind that says, you're not good enough. You're going to embarrass yourself. Everyone will see you don't belong in this lobby. So I just sat there. Hands on the wheel, afraid to hit start, but no action, no commitment, and no laps. And that's what people don't see. They see the race, they see the stream, they see the content, but they don't see the silent hesitation before it. The moment where fear and self-doubt try to win before the race even starts. Welcome to the Mental Pit Stop podcast. This is episode 7, the Overtake. Self-doubt. Here's the thing most people don't understand about maybe guys like me. On paper, I look like the last person who should struggle with self-doubt. 34 years in the military, men and women depending on me, responsibility, consequences, eyes watching. Lives affected by my decisions. Out there, I didn't get to hesitate. I didn't get to freeze. I didn't get to say, I don't feel confident today. I had to be steady. I had to be composed. I had to be in control, even when I wasn't. I remember one time, feet hanging off the skid of a helicopter. All my guys amped up, maybe a little scared, but totally locked in. And I had to be the calm one, the leader, the example. Not because I was fearless, because I couldn't let them see I wasn't. And there's the truth I never said out loud back then. I wasn't always scared of dying. I was scared of failing. Scared of not being enough for the people who trusted me. Scared of letting people down. So I did what a lot of us do. I built a mask. A mask of confidence, a mask of toughness, a mask of control. A mask that said, nothing gets to me. I'm good. Over time, that mask became my identity. Not who I was, but who I had to be to survive, to lead, to function. The problem, once you perform strength long enough, you forget how to be anything else. You forget how to say, I'm struggling, I'm unsure, I'm scared. And when you forget how to say those things, self-doubt doesn't disappear. It just goes underground. And later in life, it comes out in the weirdest places. Even something as simple as a racing game. That's why Willow Springs hit me so hard. It wasn't just a track, it was a mirror. A moment where the mask didn't work. A moment where I couldn't hide behind a role, a rank, or a mission. Just me and my doubt. And a button I couldn't press. People see me now, the adult, the veteran, the streamer, the racer. But they don't understand the wiring that came long before that. Self-doubt didn't start with racing. It didn't start in the military. It started long before I even picked up a weapon or sat behind the wheel or stepped into a uniform. I think, if I'm being honest, much of that self-doubt goes back to maybe childhood, maybe adoption. Not necessarily the chaos, not bouncing around from home to home. I was adopted at birth and had a solid, stable family. I carried questions that no one could answer. Who am I really? Why wasn't I kept? Who's my father? What was wrong with me? Where do I actually belong? You don't have those answers. You start to build your own identity. Not because anyone told you to, but because deep down you're terrified of being unwanted again. So instead of learning to belong, I learned to earn. Be strong, be useful, be impressive, be low maintenance. Don't ask for help. Don't be a burden. Don't give anyone the reason to regret choosing you. That wiring works for a while. It can make you a high achiever, a leader, a protector, a rock for everyone around you. But it comes with a cost. On the outside, you look confident. On the inside, you're always waiting to be not enough. And that kind of wound doesn't scream, it whispers. You don't really belong. Don't mess up. Don't let them down. If they really knew, they'd leave. So when Willow Springs showed up, it wasn't about the lap. It wasn't about the corners. It was about the sand. It wasn't about pace. It triggered something older, that fear of measuring up, the fear of ruining someone's race, the fear of not being enough, even at your best. Avoiding the track was never about the track. It was about identity, about self-worth, and the old wound resurfacing in a new arena. You learn to adapt instead of belong. You learn to perform instead of connect. You learn to become what others need instead of who you are. On the track, there's brake markers, there's reference points. In life, we don't have that. No map, no track guide, no manual. So I shape myself based on survival. Be useful, be strong, be what people respect, be what people expect. Don't be a burden. Don't show weakness. Don't need anything from anyone. Kind of wiring will make you impressive on paper, but empty on the inside. Because deep down, even when you're grown, even when you're accomplished, there's still this lingering voice. You don't really belong anywhere. You're not enough on your own. If people knew the real you, they'd leave. And that's your foundation. Self-doubt doesn't feel like an intruder. It feels familiar. It feels true. It feels earned. That old voice didn't disappear when I became an adult. It just evolved. The battlefield changed, but the enemy stayed the same. No matter how much coaching, mentorship, when coach says, don't avoid your weak combos, you know the truth deep down, but you have that voice in your head, that self-doubt that just keeps kicking in the door. It shows up. The self-doubt, moments like hovering over the go live button, loading into daily races, seeing a combo I don't like, wanting to avoid it, joining a lobby and thinking I don't belong here with these fast drivers, feeling slow and then feeling worthless, not just behind a pace, but behind as a person. It hits during the tiny hesitations. Maybe I'll practice later. Maybe I'll skip this week. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. No one wants to watch me struggle anyway. Self-doubt doesn't need a crisis anymore. It shows up in me for three big ways. One, avoidance disguised as strategy. I tell myself, I'll race when I'm ready. I'll stream when I'm dialed in. I'll go live when I can put on a good show. But that's not strategy. That's fear in a nice outfit. The truth is simple. I'm not avoiding the track. I'm avoiding being seen struggling. Number two, identity tied to performance. If the race goes well, I feel confident. If it goes bad, I question everything. Not just my pace, my worth. That's the dangerous part, because when identity is tied to performance, every mistake feels personal, not technical. A bad turn becomes, I'm not good at this. A bad race becomes, I'm a failure. A bad stream becomes, I don't belong here. I can't do this. The mask reflects even now. I still want to look strong, put on a good face, be the rock, be the calm voice, be the unshakable one. But sometimes I don't feel like anything. Instead of saying I'm struggling, I go silent. Not because I don't care, but because I don't want to let anyone down. The realization, that's when it hit me. The race I'm losing isn't on the track, it's in my head. Willow Springs didn't expose my skill gap. It exposed the belief that if I try my best and still fail, I will confirm the fear I've been carrying since childhood. Maybe I'm just not enough. But that's the lie. That's the voice I'm done letting drive. Self-doubt is fast, it's aggressive, it loves the inside line. It wants your wheel, it wants your focus, and it wants your race. But here's the truth. You don't defeat self-doubt by waiting for confidence. You defeat it by taking action while doubt is still talking. So this is where we change the race, not the hype, not with fake positivity, not with just believe. No, with strategy, with discipline, with small, repeatable wins. This is some things I've used this week. I will have a video coming out on the Gran Turismo World Series race at Monza, because I put these things into action this week and I had to push forward. I didn't want self-doubt to take over. So what I did in my overtake plan, I focused on 4 different things. 1, identity over outcome. Self-doubt says, what if I fail? What will people think if I crash? Confidence says, I'm the kind of driver who shows up no matter how I feel. Outcomes are unpredictable. Identity is unbreakable. Stop trying to earn your worth with results. Start acting from identity you want to grow into. That's what helped me this last week. Number 2, action before confidence. Most people get this backward, I think, and I've been there. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait for the fear to get quiet. I know I've done it many times. But confidence doesn't show up first. You do. Every lap you run when you don't feel ready, that's confidence being built in real time. Number 3, accept the voice, but don't obey it. Self-doubt will never fully disappear. It's part of being human. But it can lose its power. You can literally say to yourself, I hear you, but I'm driving right now. That separates the emotion from the action. The voice can stay in the car, but it doesn't get behind the wheel, the pedals, or take over your racing line. Number 4, proof laps. Self-doubt argues with imagination. Confidence argues with evidence. So build your evidence. 1 lap, 1 rep, 1. I showed up even though I was scared for the moment. Collect them. That becomes your internal highlight reel, your proof file that says, I've done harder things than this. And that's when self-doubt loses its teeth. I want to take this time to ask a few questions for you. Maybe you want to journal them down, use a voice note on your phone, or just sit and think about them quietly. No pressure, no overthinking, just honesty. Where does self-doubt show up the most in your life right now? Is it racing, streaming, relationships, work, confidence, identity? For me, I think it's all of them. What story do I tell myself that feeds that doubt? What is the sentence, the belief, or the lie that keeps playing in the background? For me, I would say it's the belief that I'm not good enough. What proof do I already have that I'm stronger, more capable, or more resilient than I give myself credit for? Because I know there is proof. You just don't look at it often. For me, I would say it's my resilience, my don't quit attitude. What is one proof lap that you can take this week? Not a huge goal, not perfection, just one small action that builds confidence through movement instead of waiting for motivation. I would say that proof lap for me was doing the Monza GTWS, which I've only done one other. I think I was C rank at the time, and now I jumped in a lobby for the Gran Turismo World Series and had a ton of fun. And that video will be coming out soon. So to go on the back of the questions I just asked, here's kind of a few things that I put to action in the last week, I would say. And I call it the self-doubt overtake button. One that I used was this 10-second reset. When doubt hits mid-lap or mid-day, pause and ask yourself, is this the voice that's protecting me or limiting me? Then choose action that aligns with growth. not fear. That one really hit with me this week. And just jump in, and the more laps you do, the more races you do, that confidence will come. And that segues to tool number 2 that I used. The confidence file is what I called it. I often use voice notes. Start a note on your phone called Proof I Can. Write down the wins, the breakthroughs, kind messages, compliments to yourself, something you can listen to later. Anything that proves self-doubt wrong. Review it on days you feel slow, stuck, or behind. Tool number 3, one courageous lap. Pick one small action you've been avoiding. Not a perfect lap, just a courageous one. Maybe it's send that text message to someone you've been avoiding, relationships, whatever. Join the lobby that you're afraid to. Press the start button. Try again. Confidence doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. So coming near the end, I wrote this affirmation down. You can, as always, say it along with me or say it in your head or just listen. I will race at my pace. I am not behind. I am not broken. I am just beginning. Because every lap in racing and in life is lived in the present moment, not yesterday's spin out, not tomorrow's pressure, right here, right now, with your hands on the wheel and your eyes forward. You are allowed to grow slowly. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to take your time. And that's going to segue to the next episode, which I'll talk about at the end. If today's episode landed with you, if you've been battling with self-doubt, comparison, maybe you've been frustrated. Maybe you have that voice in your head that says you're not enough, but I want you to know you're not alone in that fight. You don't always have to win every lap to stay in the race. So today, give yourself some grace. You showed up. You listened all the way through the end of the podcast. You reflected. That's progress. Thank you for being here, truly. I appreciate all your time. Thank you for choosing to take this pit stop with me. I hope you leave a little lighter than you arrived, perhaps a little bit more motivated, and perhaps make you more aware of your own self-doubt. Next time on the Mental Pit Stop Podcast, episode 8, we will talk about stay in your lane, comparisons, confidence, and mental clutter. Remember, it's okay to say you're not okay. We'll see you on the next episode.
I'm not a doctor, therapist, or mental health professional. I'm just sharing my story and the lessons I've learned along the way. If you're struggling, please reach out to a professional or someone you trust.
You don't have to carry the weight alone.